Coming at you live from the horse stables. You can see the girls riding horses behind me. That's the advanced class before Reese's. We come early because Reese helps with the second class, the young kids. So I'm here for about 4 hours, which isn't too bad because I don't have to take her to practice every day. Anyways, this is another video for my old cousins and my sister. I got nothing but time right now, so share a couple old stories. Actually, it was pretty cool. I know I've said this before on a couple of videos, but Grandpa started the wrestling program at Raymond Central High School and Norris High School. Of course, Barb taught at Norris forever and actually taught with my 5th grade teacher who eventually went there, Teresa Garacki, and also Nick Mayer, very close family friend that helped us with Kent, and just a great person, both of them. Anyways, so wrestling was a big deal. I asked Grandpa one time if he wrestled, and he said no, I was too old, but he said me and my brothers really would have loved it, and they probably would have been state champs or a few times state champs in Iowa. But in high school, you get a lot of good kids, and we got the Nebraska State Finals this weekend, the Arizona State Finals this weekend. I'm going to go watch the Arizona Finals. Madeline Oliver for Franklin High School, Benjamin Franklin High School. She's going to win her second title. And another friend, their son Colin Lucas, he's in the semis as a heavyweight. It's only his second year of wrestling. And if he can get by the number 1 seed, he's going to win it. So it's really awesome. Colin was a little guy last time I saw him when he was a 3rd, 4th grader. Worked with his parents and he came to help us with the carnival at school, and just a sweet kid. That's such a good kid. He used to call his mom on the phone when he was at home after school to ask if it was okay if he had a soda, man. He's really big now. He's bigger than his dad, Joe. Colin actually had to cut down from like 210 or 310 pounds down to the weight limit of 285 for the boys. So we're excited to see that. In high school, of course, Eric and Rick had all the records at Raymond Central for wins and all that until the Lucas brothers came, and there was a lot. We wrestled a lot more than they did in the 70s and 80s, in the 90s. When I wrestled in 2000s, and Tom went on to UNK. Rick went to Omaha, wrestled and blew out his knee, and but before Rick went to college, actually when he was in high school, he went and did this overseas wrestling in Europe. And I believe one of our friends, Bud Folling, was on that team with him, because Bud went overseas about that time to wrestle. But Bud only went to Poland because he couldn't afford to pay for all the other expenses to go. And Bud won his match over there. He was a national champion for Peru. And when Rick was training over there in Turkey first, it's freestyle. And he didn't do a lot of freestyle, even though he was a really good thrower, And that's a big part of freestyle. And the coach in Turkey showed him this one move to do. And then he did that in all his matches and pinned all his guys, which was pretty awesome. And then, of course, Tom went to UNK and became the legend that is Olaf. And when he was in college, he wrestled a guy from Iowa State, Nate Carr. And Nate Carr would go on to get 3rd in the Olympics, and he won nationals for Division I for Iowa State 2 or 3 times. So he was lighting up a young Olaf on the mat. But Ollie was tough. He was able to get an escape, and in the process of doing some stuff, he poked Nate Carr in the eye, and they had to stop the match because, if you get poked in the eye, you got to stop. So, yeah, then Carr unleashed the fury. But his son David Carr has won 2 titles for Iowa State. He won last year, upset the kid from Missouri. And, I was never that good at anything, really. Just worked hard in wrestling. But in college, we had a triangular with Oskaloosa and this other school. And the kid from Oskaloosa beat me. I think he majored me. He was he placed 6th at nationals. And but I wrestled this other kid, this Peterson kid, and he was really ripped, like ripped. But I beat him, and his dad was actually John Peterson, who was on the Olympic team with Dan Gable and other guys. Probably the best Olympic team America's ever had. I don't understand how that kid could not have been better with his dad being an Olympic champion. But after the meet, I was talking to a lot of my family's from Iowa. Well, all of my family's from Iowa, my dad and my mom. But my uncle Randy was there with Aunt Bobby and Grandma Helen and Uncle Randy. We were talking. Uncle Randy's like, I didn't think you were gonna beat that guy, you know. But it was pretty fun. It was, you know, always fun to win. You know, wins are hard to come by in college. What we like to say, you wrestle state champion once in a while when you're in high school, but it seems like almost every time you step on the mat in college, you're wrestling a state champ or someone that's beaten state champs. It is tough. And, and you know, that dude was ripped. But I've always loved pictures, you know, since I was little. Mom says, oh, you've always liked that. And I always had pictures on my fridge in college. And on my fridge when I had my apartment, and had a picture of Mom and my buddy Paul Kester from Clearwater, Nebraska. 25-pounder came in. He was looking at pictures. He goes, oh my God, Reed, your mom's more ripped than you are. He was just laughing like he did. And there was nothing I could say. Mom's got all these veiny, strong muscles. Here am I, just long, lean mass muscles. Not good to look at. I couldn't even yell at him. I was so humbled by that phrase. And of course, one of my favorite wrestling stories was when Jake was 3.5, first meet. I don't know if it was Kincarney or where it was at, but he was wrestling the kid and he got bit. And he was in tears, and Tom ran out on the mat and got him. And Ricky the Biter, man, how dare you? How dare you tearing at my cousin? Then my last tournament in high school, they had a little open tournament at the end for guys that want to wrestle a month after state. And so me and my friend Scott Marnell went and stayed at Tom's, and Jake was there, and Jake was wrestling the next day. And you weigh in, that was one where you weigh in the night before. You don't do that in high school. You don't do that in college anymore either. And me and Scotty are sleeping in bunk beds in Jake's room. Jake comes in with the bag. He's wrestling that morning. He comes in with a big bag of chips. He's eating chips. He comes in, he's like, okay, guys, time to wrestle. I'm like, all right, let's go. Why are you eating chips? We were at this meet, and I'm just hanging out, having fun, and this guy, when I knew who this guy was, it was Lucas's dad from Raymond Central. He's standing there, and he was watching his younger son wrestle, and he came up and by Tom, and Tom just looked at him and smiled and said, I'm Tom Rosenquist. And you could tell him that dad's eyes just like, ooh, I know this guy. It was pretty fun. That was the last meet I won. College, I got to the finals of 2 opens and just got destroyed. But those were good times. Great oldies. And of course, when we drove back from Kearney, Scott left his shirt there, and it was like one of his favorite shirts. And I thought it was gone, but he actually left it at Tom's house, so we got the shirt back, and he was really excited. And he actually Scott got a pigtail into that tournament. He worked out with me for a month. Like, we ran and did medicine ball stuff. We couldn't wrestle because he was a 103-pounder, but we worked our butts off. And he ended up wrestling Key Sweater, whatever the sweater was, with a kid from Kearney that was really good. He would go on to, he was an All-American, wrestled, got 3rd place at Nationals. Very good wrestler, state champ. I think he won it a couple times. His brother did too. So Scott did all this hard work, and he got Key Sweater first match and just got dusted. So I'm like, this ain't right. So David Miller, another legend from Kearney, he won so many matches. He was a 4-time state champ. but his shoulder was messed up, so he didn't really wrestle a lot in college, and he got on some. He partied. He partied. The story I heard about him was that I can't remember where he went to college. It might have been Kearney or whatever, but he was on drugs they didn't know they had in the area at the time. And but he was a good guy. I really liked him, but he was handing out the medals at the end. So I'm like, I got to do something for Scotty because this sucks, man. He drove at me out here. I gave him gas money, but you know he deserves something. So when he went to get the medals, I went in to reach for him and I flipped the box. All the medals went on the ground and I stepped on one. And then Miller and me picked them all up. And then he left, and then I picked up my foot, and it was a silver medal. So I gave it to him, and you know, he hung it in his car, and it was you know, me being you know a thief like I can be, the medal thief. That was a good time in Kearney, man. Only better time is if you're fishing out at Milford. Anyways, there's a few old stories, you know, family wrestling and whatnot. I'm hoping Ollie wrestles is my only hope for a state champ at that next generation, unless Bo, the new baby, becomes a wrestler. Or you never know. There might be another Rosenquist out there that could come and start kicking some ass, which I would love to see. Take it easy.